My first question for you is, what made you want to write your book?
Well, when I was a professional project planner for Deloitte, I learned all of the secrets to managing these big, projects for Fortune 500 companies. And then when I became a parent, I realized the most complicated project planner of all is parenting. And so when I was using the concepts I learned from my professional background, from my family, it really made my life run so much easier.
I say, do you have any tips because I work from home and I have 3 kids. Would you have any tips that would make it so other people who are in the same shoes as like I am, that we do work from home and trying to organize life in general with any amount of kids, that would make it easier to find the balance?
Well, my tip is use technology. Get those tools in line to help you manage your life. And I use Office 365 Home Premium. And the cool thing about Office 365 is that you can install it for up to 5 devices, in your family. So
Yeah.
it makes it really easy. And I actually have 5 tips that can help. The first is create a plan. If you're a work-at-home mom or you're a working mom in general, you have a busy schedule, right? So you need to look ahead and create a plan for your family that will basically help you deal with the weekly, the seasonal, the yearly activities. And then you can start to use the technology to help you manage it. My second tip is basically the cloud. Isn't the cloud great? It's like magic. I use SkyDrive and Office web apps, so I could do homework with my son no matter where I am. So I think using the cloud is a key tool to use. And another tip I have is digital notes can be such a great way because, we're always managing a million different priorities. So I use Microsoft OneNote, and I do things like my menu planning, carpooling, and shopping lists. And if my husband's at the store, he could just bring up the shopping list on OneNote, and we're set for shopping. So another tip is, especially if you're working at home, a great, take advantage of small little changes that can save time. And one of the new features of Microsoft Word is that you can actually reply to comments. So let's say you're working on a document together with someone else. Instead of sending back emails, you can just basically reply to comments, and it makes your life so much easier.
That sounds like a very good, easy making life.
Yeah, exactly. And how about
instead of Facebook, you can just go right on there and do it.
Right, exactly. Collaboration, right? And that's what, again, the cloud helps you with collaboration. And the last tip is the family calendar, don't you think? Get that family calendar in order and you can manage your chaos. And I use Outlook to manage my calendar, and it's color coded. Also, my tip is put some time in there for yourself, right? Me time, and also time with
That's needed.
Don't you think?
Yes, you can't function without it. I'm a firm believer that the me time is the most important thing. Otherwise, nobody else is functioning.
Exactly. Like, you need to put time for yourself. Maybe it's exercise, whatever makes you happy to spend some time for yourself. And that's in my book. I say parents should understand their own personal requirements as well as their family requirements and make sure they put in a plan. Because don't you feel like if you don't have it on your plan, it just doesn't get done?
It doesn't. That's my issue that I have, is trying to get the plan set up. Especially now when school time is now out, because in the next 3 days my kids will no longer be in school. So we'll go from having 2 children at school to all 3 of the kids home all day long.
Yeah, and you're trying to kind of juggle work and having the kids home. Is that your big
and
juggle?
Entertaining them and making it so that summer's not boring for them. Summer's supposed to be fun. So
right. Well, maybe this is the right time to kind of take a look and look at the whole summer, right? I say look out through the whole time until your kids go back to school, and then look at maybe what events. I say look at the personal needs for each family member. Maybe there are special things your kids enjoy doing, and seeing what's out there. You can start putting a plan together. If it's maybe going to an aquarium or going to the beach, and maybe joining together with some other parents, carpooling or shared play dates. Tips like that can really help you get through the summer.
So do you have any tips for like your kids and your kids actually using the technology?
Yeah, that's a really good point. A tip that I use is for, let's say, chores, because as a parent, when you're putting a plan together, you want to have the whole family help out, right?
Yes.
So I use Microsoft Excel, and I have all of the chores color-coded, the same color as our calendar, so my kids are getting used to it because we have our calendar, up on our PC. And so the chores are color-coded as well. And so that's my tip, is kind of getting the kids engaged, and they go on our PC and they check off when they've done a chore, and they have that follow through where they feel good about it.
I really like that because mine are they're into the iPads. Like, they can work them better than anybody else I know. And so that way is something that they can still, they're not losing the technology that they need to learn because it's not going anywhere on us. And so I like that. I think I'm going to be using that to make their chore chart, because I really don't like the ones that stick to the wall.
Yeah,
they rip, they fall off.
Right, exactly. You don't
I can't change them because they're kind of permanent. Like, once you write up and spend an hour to make that list on and then hang it on the wall and it looks nice, you don't really want to spend another hour to do another one.
Right. I think the paper on the wall is just over. It's time to get things, where you can get, no matter what device you have it on, right? And another cool thing is OneNote, because you can get that on the iPad as well. And you know that OneNote has an equation editor, so you can do math, really cool math, and maybe that's something to keep prevent the summer slide, is doing a little educational.
I'm going to have to check that one out, because I did not know that you could put that one on the iPad.
Yeah.
I just got a Windows phone, so I'm starting to test out that and see what it does.
Yeah, the Windows Phone was great because you could take your Office with you,
So
as
I'm
well as
thinking
your
that
PC.
but then I can go between the Windows Phone and people can go from the Windows Phone to what their Windows stuff is. That even if they're out of town, like if I go on a trip, somebody like me could easily go and still update what's there at the house from their phone.
Right, and with Office 365 Home Premium, you have access to the web apps, the Office web apps. So basically, you can send a file to anyone and they can open it, even if they don't have it. So it makes your life so much easier.
That is awesome. And my last question for you was, as a mom and while you were writing your book, what inspired you the most to get your work done and hit your final goal of having your book published?
Well, thank you. That's a good question. I think it's just a matter of putting the plan together helped me, because it's so overwhelming that if you look at all the things you need to do as a mom, don't you feel like you just go, it's so overwhelming? But I look at each little task at a time, and that's how I get through. So my whole goal was just to finish the book, and I broke that up into tiny little tasks. So each time I finished a tiny task, then I moved on to the next one. So, and having everything on my Outlook and having my OneNote helped me kind of manage all these tasks together.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.